broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yeah! Get your dance on, ladies. You better roll, Twinkie. You better roll. They don't know about that, huh?
That's that 80s roll.
Right. Welcome to the season finale of season 3. It's episode 10. Some things are black and white of BET's Being Mary Jane. I'm one of your hosts, Megan Thomas, at Meg Scoop on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Periscope. And this lovely, beautiful lady that you see sitting next to me is the casting director extraordinaire, Miss Twinkie Byrd. Hello!
How are you?
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and you're so welcome, and I'm very excited to be here.
We're excited to have you.
We're so glad to have you. What's your social media for people who are watching right now?
My social media is my name on everything, so it's Twinkie_Byrd on Twitter, it's Twinkie Byrd on IG, or I am Twinkie Byrd on IG, and I have a fan page, Fans of Twinkie Byrd Casting, on Facebook.
Yay! And then, of course, we have our co-host, lovely ladies. Who are you?
I am Shar Jossell of SharSaysSo.com, and you guys know to find me at Shar Says So on all social media.
And I'm Tiona Hobson, and you can find me on social media at the Tiona Hobson and Tiona_Hobson on Snapchat.
Yeah, Fania's not here today, but she sends her love to you guys. Let's talk about this. This is the last episode of season 3, you guys.
Yeah.
I'm sad.
I'm very sad.
I need a moment.
I know. Twinkie, you did an amazing job casting all 3 seasons.
Yes.
Thank you very much,
Amazing.
ladies. I appreciate you.
What's some of the process that you have, like when you see the script and it goes, okay, we're looking for a Latina newbie that's going to take Mary Jane's place. Like, what do you do? Do you have a mental Rolodex, or like, how do you do this?
I do. I have a mental Rolodex. I have an awesome associate named Chani Patel, and we sit down and we get together and we make our lists and we pull pictures and IMDb's, and you know, we go through. I watch so many shows that I do have like performances in my head. I know it sounds like a little creepy, but like Mara, she has characters in her head. My job is to have performances in my head. Yes. So that's part of my process.
Okay. And I want to say this too, because this season we had Loretta Devine as Cece, an amazing character. How did you even help with that? How did you see that? Because I would have never been able to go, oh, she's going to be Cece. I wouldn't have done that.
I would expect a Lynn Whitfield type. I said this last week. Like Lynn Whitfield, I think would have been great. But it's funny. I love that Loretta.
I can't even have seen the Lynn Whitfield.
Because Lynn Whitfield typically plays the villain, but Loretta is never the villain. So that's why this was a refreshing change of pace.
Well, the beautiful thing about it was that I had lists for another character, another role. And then this role originally was written for a man.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm sitting in my meeting with Mara and Salim, and we're going through the notes. And Salim is, of course, doing his thing as a director and executive producer and everything. And he's just doing his thing separately. And Mara's like, okay, so who do we want? And what is this? And let's check his availabilities. And how much is it? And Salim just looked up and he was like, why can't it be Loretta Devine?
Wow.
Did you think he was joking?
And we were all like, why can't it be Loretta? Okay, let's check Loretta Devine's avails for Cece, which was Curtis, which is now Cece. So it is a collaboration, and it's an effort between all of us, and we do have such a shorthand because we've worked together on multiple projects, Jumping the Broom Sparkle, and now this. So we have created a shorthand that most people don't get to have, and I am so thankful to be a part of that process, because now we can just we throw things out there, and a phone call happens. Sometimes it's a text, and we're all on a group text, and I'm sitting at the light going, great idea, not avail, checked on that, copy, and I'm doing all of that at the light.
Right.
At Sepulveda and Santa Monica Boulevard. Right at light.
Hope it ain't no traffic light there.
That's that long light.
That's a
long
long
camera.
light right there.
Ooh, Lord.
Business deals get made at that light.
Yes,
basically, is
a
what you're
lot
saying.
of, yes, the Jill Scott at that light. Cool, sis, you down? Awesome. I'm going to get that over to you. All that at the light.
amazing.
Has there
Yeah.
ever been somebody that you picked and you said, oh, this would be a great person for this role, and then they turned out not to be?
Turned out not to be
Yeah,
great?
like for a reason, like you decided like I can't work with you anymore. Was there ever somebody that, even if it's not on this show, has that ever happened to you where you're like, I think this person's great, and then they turn out to be?
No.
So you already know. Are these people that you've already worked with? Is that how you know?
No.
Okay.
But no. I'm trying to think of when it ever. I know that my second choice became the first choice on a number of occasions. The second choice became the first choice. I just had that great conversation with a studio head very recently, and I'm like, the second choice becomes the first choice, and that sometimes is the best choice. Like you think you wanted somebody, like sometimes the studio or the network will give me a list and they think they want somebody, and much like Lisa Vidal,
Right.
Lisa Vidal, I can't see the show without her.
Right. I love her. Hi.
I can't see the show without Lisa Vidal. She is like the glue and the Latina, just the the relationship between her and Gabrielle, and when they were in the kitchen doing a whole
Right. It's so much fun. It's so real.
Oh my God!
And she was one of my personal favorite guests that stopped by the studio
good.
all season.
Absolutely, yeah.
She was one of my personal
She's so
top three.
awesome. She's such
Everybody
a
was great, but Lisa was like she's like homegirl.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
there were a number of different times when we were scrambling and trying to figure out who and what. And then that second choice moved right up, and then they're in there, whether it's Being Mary Jane or other projects, and we're like, this is perfect.
This is perfect,
And the
right.
synergy comes together, and it's like a family. And Mara and Salim set the tone. And then we're all tweeting and texting and, girl, did you see this? And,
Right,
girl,
right.
did you see
Well, you know what I want to ask you about is of course, this show is amazing, partly due to the amazing men that is on the show. From Stephen Bishop to who we have, Omari Hardwick, Gary Dourdan. This season, of course, we had Thomas Q. Jones. And how do you pick these guys? And what is that day like? What is man audition day like?
And can I get in on that? Like,
Right.
can I? If you ever need any help,
I'll be your
specifically,
associate
I
for
will.
the day.
I will definitely.
Right.
If you just need me to even run the Starbucks, I will. I will be of assistance
understand.
for that day.
Man audition day for Thomas and for James, who plays our British squirrel guy.
Yes.
And all of them actually. BJ even male audition guy is great. That's the day when I usually put on a lip and a heel.
Yeah.
And just kind of make sure everything is pushed and
Yeah.
pushed.
Right.
And I smile a lot on that day.
I would imagine.
Right.
I would imagine.
Yes, because you get all of that masculine energy, and you're like, and thank you so very much. And the day of Richard Roundtree.
Man.
Oh, dear God
Who's
in heaven.
amazing.
Oh, dear God in heaven. It's Richard Roundtree.
Right.
Oh, when I had him in my office, I was like, okay, I'm going to have a fan moment, but it'll be after we put you on tape. I put him on tape, and I was like, fan moment, can we take a selfie? Oh my God, you're Richard Roundtree. Like, just
Right.
Yeah.
Richard Roundtree. I
Wow.
couldn't. It took me a moment. And then Margaret Avery, I have a girl crush on, so.
Love her.
How did you pick her for this role? Because I will tell you, when I first saw her, I was like, wait a minute. You're taking me back. You're taking me back to my Color Purple times.
Yes,
like that was
sure.
she was such a great pick to be the mother of Mary Jane. How did you come across her as being the pick for the show?
Oh, well, she's Margaret Avery.
stunning.
Like, you make that list and you have them come in specifically for the producers, me and the producers. But she is everything. And it's so funny. She came in initially with a different wig on. So she was wearing another wig, the powder wig from Roscoe, Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins.
Oh,
the shorter
really?
powdered wig
Yeah,
that makes her look
yeah.
more mature. And we were like, no, we want Mary Jane's mother to be fly.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, I have my other wig in the car. And she ran to the car and got her other wig, and the hair was all laid, and we were like, that's Mary Jane Paul's mama.
Yes.
And they look like sisters, and I'm just like, we want her to look like, like, they look like they're parents of
Right,
these
right,
beautiful chocolate
right.
people, and they're both beautiful older adults,
Yes.
beautiful parents, and that they have these beautiful children.
Right, right.
Like, it makes perfect sense.
I have to say, I ran into Margaret Avery at Diva Simply Singing, Cheryl Lee Ralph's benefit gala or whatever concert.
Right.
And her skin is amazing.
Right.
To be a woman, I think she's in her 70s, if I'm not mistaken.
She's
to be a woman of a
stunning.
particular age, I say, of a certain age, she looks fantastic.
I
Right.
love her. She's taking care of herself. She teaches me how to take care of myself. She's and
she's
her
so
body
sweet.
is bananas.
That too.
I love
We
that we
need
had a
some of
love
that.
scene. We had a love scene between the two of them in the first season. You know that, and you get to see her back and his hands on her, and I was like, "Thank you, Mara." It's not young people aren't. This is how they got here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We were talking about that. We really like that part of the show as well because you don't ever get to see that. You don't get to see that. Then we saw the love scene with Niecy and her baby dad.
Yes.
Corey in the house.
Corey in the house. We get to see a lot of things that you don't typically see, especially not on TV. Like this episode today, we see Mary Jane getting it in.
Yes.
Getting a little headshot there.
Yes, she was.
That was tastefully said.
It was
A
okay,
headshot.
yeah.
Yes, it was. It's
Yeah,
nice.
I like that. If I borrow that.
I'm going to
You
use
go ahead.
that.
Yeah,
Thank
just
you.
give me my royalties.
I like that.
Yeah, so I just love how the show works like that. And then the other thing that I wanted to ask you is, of course, you get to see, rough drafts of these episodes so you can get the people that need to be in them.
Yes.
How different has it been from who you pick and then what you finally see on camera? Is it typically the same, or is it like, are you like, oh my gosh, I had no clue it was going to turn out like that?
Sometimes I have no clue that it was going to turn out like that, which is an awesome thing because
Right.
it's one thing to just read it and it's flat and it's on the page and you kind of hear it. But like Daniela Alonso, she plays Marisol. Completely different than what I saw it as being, which was a little bit more like bouncy and happy to be there. And she had a more sultry way of doing it and being her. And it made sense that Lisa Vidal's character was like seething over her sexuality. She was like, I just don't like her sexuality. She just don't. And it makes sense because she wasn't young and bubbly and I'm a new intern and I'm so excited. And So they breathe life into the characters. And that's one of my hashtags that I love, other than Diamond Finder, which I am. They breathe life into those characters, and then I see them and I'm like, I'm so in love with my show that I get teary. And sometimes, like, I'm with my man and we were watching it a couple of weeks ago and I was like, babe, I love my show so much. Oh my God. And I'm tweeting and I'm texting and I'm Instagramming and I'm watching it and I was like, oh my God, I kicked butt on this episode.
That's good.
Some episodes are so full of talent.
Right.
Yes.
Like, I'll never forget when I had to do the Mark Neal, Michaela Angela Davis, and Mark Anthony Neal, Michaela Angela Davis, India Ari. Because you understand, I'm casting the guest stars, and I'm also casting the panel that's for Mary Jane's show. So really, I'm doing two shows in one.
Right.
I should get paid double.
You should. You might need to talk to somebody about that. So I know that you're doing all the casting stuff, but are you ever on set while they're filming too, or is when it airs on TV?
Pilot.
That's the only time.
Pilot episode, I was on set and I was so excited. And I took pictures, and they were like, Twinkie, pictures.
You work so hard.
Those. And I was like, yeah, but I just want to. I'm in the trailer taking pictures, getting their makeup done. It feels so good to watch it all come together, because I was literally there at the inception when Mara took that script and laid it on the sofa and then pushed it towards me.
Wow.
And it was single black female then. And then I took it to the treadmill and fell off, and then got back on and then fell off again. And Mara, and I was like, this is not right. You put some of my stuff in here. I am Mary Jane. She is. She's great.
That's so amazing that you get, you've been with it since its inception, and you've gotten to work with Mara and Salim and had to see this vision come to life. What is it like when you've worked super hard and then you see something on the show? Or on the screen, has there ever been a time where you did something and you're like, I'm not so happy about that. Let me do something different for the next time?
No.
That's good.
No. I learned from each situation, but I'm thankful to have people to bounce things off of, so it's not just me. I have Mara, I have Salim, I have Claire Brown, who is also a producer on the show. I have my directors, Oz Scott, Nima Barnett, Regina King.
Yeah,
We
Regina
had
King.
Regina
Yeah.
again.
Regina.
Emmy Award winner. So, you have people to bounce things off of. So to make sure that I'm like, okay, are we feeling it? Is everybody good? I'm calling down to Atlanta. Are you all good? Are we feeling? It's intense enough? Like, is it feeling like? And they give me feedback, and I go with the feedback. But we have a dialogue, and that's what I say when I say that Mara and Salim and Claire, they set the tone, because there is a dialogue that's constantly happening, and it doesn't freak me out to get notes.
Right.
I look forward. I'm like thirsty for them.
Yeah.
Bring on the notes. What do we need to do differently?
That's good. I think that's healthy when you have a creative mind and you work a creative job.
Yes.
Feedback, whether it be constructive or otherwise. Well, I shouldn't say of otherwise. It needs to be constructive.
Exactly.
But I think that's totally healthy, and it works with the relationship. It's nurturing.
Right. Let's talk about this episode. Let's get into it, guys.
Oh my gosh.
So, of course, the episode opens up with Mary Jane in bed with Mr. Nice white chocolate man.
White Bay.
Yes.
I call him White Bay.
You call him White Bay?
I do. I've been calling him White Bay
Alrighty.
since his intro.
Okay.
Yes, White Bay. And David's mother comes over to the house. What did you think when you guys saw that?
I thought a lot of things. I thought, wow, after all this time she's coming here.
Right.
But then when she gets to explaining what her purpose is being there, I do often find that when you break up with someone, you are breaking up with their family too. And sometimes you're not ready to let go of that and the friendship that's there. So then I was thinking, okay, I like her, coming over to do this. But then she just kind of kept pounding it. And I was like, okay, now you need to back off, lady.
Right.
Like she said, no.
Do you think Mary Jane was being too harsh with her, though? I think Mary Jane was on point with it.
It's that release energy.
Right.
It's like it's the second that you truly release, that all of a sudden here comes the other to try to pull you back in, and she's like, no, you don't have me. I got this.
Right.
I'm staying released. I'm gonna stay this way. So thank you, Mom, for showing up. But no, would you have forgiven him? Well, then no. Don't ask me to do something that you would not have done. So. No.
And at this point, he's still with the baby moms that we understand. You know what I mean? Like, there's not anything that can be there.
It's like, if you're going to come over and say, David broke up, or you guys didn't work out, I miss you. We can continue to have a friendship. That's okay.
Right.
But to be like, everyone deserves forgiveness. You have to forgive my son. She doesn't have to do anything.
Right.
And that's what Mama wasn't understanding. But I also, from a mother's perspective, I'm not a mom, but I can see my mom going over and being like, my daughter, she's so sorry. She didn't mean it. And I could see my mom pleading my case for someone else to forgive me. So I understand the mama bear side of her.
Right. And then Twinkie, was that Meredith Baxter?
That was.
I
was about to say. I'm like, and then Twinkie with the Meredith Baxter.
Yes, of course, everyone's favorite TV mom.
Oh my goodness!
Good.
I pulled that out of my what? Yes.
Did a good job there.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
That was a lot of haggling.
It was?
That was a lot of haggling, going back and forth with times and everything. It was just a lot. But we made it happen, and Meredith, love you, because she made that work. I love it.
Right. And so, of course, Mary Jane sends her on her merry way.
Mary.
I know, Mary Way. And then, of course, we have the music in the show is always amazing because Mary J. Blige, No More Drama is playing.
Oh, my God.
Like, we knew this was about to be No More Drama.
Like, all right, who we kicking out of our lives right now?
Yes.
Because I'm ready to clean my closet.
Is spinning on the record or whatever. It's it's just going to be to brace yourself.
Yes,
you do.
Well, let's keep talking about White Bay for a moment. So Mary Jane goes to karaoke with White Bay. It's really cute, right?
Adorable.
A hip, a hop, a hip. That's a cute song to do with your White Bay, right?
I really like him.
Do you like him for her?
Yes, I've been saying this over the last 3 weeks. My prediction, season 4, Mary Jane is going to end up marrying a white boy.
I don't like that.
I just see that happening.
I like him for her, but not to jump too far ahead. I thought she was extremely petty, even though I respect her honesty. I thought she was extremely petty in the way that she broke up with him.
Why?
I just thought that it was just...
How should she have done it differently then?
I mean, I can't answer that. Like I said, I respect her honesty, but it just seemed like it was going so well. But you got to do what's best for you. He seemed ideal for her.
Why?
And it seemed like she broke up with him based off of him not being black.
Right.
Well,
But am I tripping?
I feel a little trip.
yeah.
A little trip. A half
Okay,
a
a
trip.
little trip. Just a little
half a
stumble.
Well, what it
recovering.
is what we didn't see, what she alluded to, was the fact that she got tired of trying to. She said they spent an hour in a conversation about why she was tripping over the black couple. And if you're constantly looking over your shoulder, you need to figure out if you're really truly ready to be open to something like this.
Right.
And it's really her saying, I'm not open and really truly ready to be in this place with you. You're a great guy and you're an awesome person and you should have the relationship that you want. I'm just not ready, but I had a lot of fun.
Right.
And thank you for
and
pushing
I can
me
respect that.
outside of my
and I didn't
comfort
look at
zone.
it like that, but I do respect her honesty for
Right.
that. And when she mentioned how she doesn't want to have to go through explaining, you know, her kitchen.
Right.
And he didn't know that, so it is a lot to unpack when sometimes
It
when
is.
you're in interracial relationships and the person may not be as cultured as you'd like them to be, but there's still other
And there are some that are
things.
very.
I was about to say there are.
I dated one
but
and
there's
we had a
still
great
some
time.
great qualities.
Did a white man, Twinkie?
Yes, I did.
Did you have to explain a lot of stuff?
No, I did not.
Wow, that's awesome.
Every white man that I've been with, I had to do a lot of.
Explain it. This is why I wrap my hair.
This is why it never got that intimate, but hair did come up, and so it's always this like college dissertation, like this verbal dissertation, like how do I say this and be PC?
I have more of a verbal dissertation with black men about my hair.
Really?
Yes, because that white boy, he was like, wear it out. He was my surfer dude. He was like, wear that afro out. Yes. Put on your dashiki, mama. Work it.
I love it.
Right,
I
yeah.
actually have a friend who is engaged to a white boy who went to a historically black college, was the president of a fraternity there, still involved heavily in the fraternity. And I met him and I was like, you know what? He's not even that white boy who's trying to pretend to be something else. He just is real and gets it. And I was like, you know
Wait,
what?
the white boy was at the HBCU?
Yes.
And was president?
Was president of the fraternity. Still
of a
involved.
Divine Nine
Yes,
fraternity?
and still
Sorry
like,
that we are losing her.
It might be a music fraternity.
Oh my gosh. Don't try to downplay the music.
I'm not.
Exactly.
But it is a difference in being a president of a Divine Nine and, for example, Kappa Kappa Psi. Shout out to our
Exactly.
I cannot remember which fraternity it was at this moment, but
the divine now. Yes, honey. Yes.
still
Breathe.
involved in it to this day, like the president of the alumni association
cute.
of it. Like it's
Right.
and it's
Right.
perfect and it works
And he's
out.
not a cultural appropriator. That's just
no,
who he
it's
is.
just who
Aw,
he is.
that's good.
And it's great.
What do you guys
So
think of
nice, cultural appropriator.
that? Is a
I
good
mean,
way
yeah, you got to
say it.
watch out for that. At least I know I do.
I appreciate that term.
I have no time.
More so than culture vulture. But go. Yeah, I love that. Yes. I appreciate it. I'm going to use that.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so the picture of Mary Jane kissing on her man at karaoke goes viral.
Yes, it does.
And people are calling her a hypocrite because she had the whole conversation about black men dating outside of their race. Is she a hypocrite?
No.
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 Why
She's
say
outside of
no?
her box.
Okay.
She's getting outside of her box, just like, you know, African American men are outside of their box. She's just deciding to, okay, well, if this is what's happening, let me be more open. And she was kind of pushed into it, you know, by Mark. But once she got in there, she was like, oh, this could be fun.
Yeah, if you can't beat them, join them.
Well,
Mean.
do you all, I have to ask, do you all agree with the ladies of The Real as far as black women being judged more harshly for interracial relationships than black men?
I don't think that it's judged more harshly. I think that it's more rare to find. And I think that a lot of it is because black women don't know if people of other cultures are necessarily that open. Black men are very open about their, you know, attraction to women of other races. Whereas I feel like sometimes men of other races aren't that open to aren't as vocal, I should say. They're open to it, but maybe we don't know.
There's a whole thing that we could unpack and go into with this.
There
'Cause
is.
The whole thing.
I read a study about, this was I want to say a year or so ago, and I want to say it was the Huffington Post. I might be wrong, but there was a study conducted and it showed that black women are, I hate to say that, but like the least desirable. Like they took a poll.
I remember
The
that.
ugly
men
black
across the
woman,
board.
like in the show.
And the least desirable, which, you know, for relationships, sexually, yes. Because, you know, our bodies are looked at as these, you know.
Yes.
And the same with black men. But black men were desired more for relationships and sexually because they have that Mandingo stereotype. And it's a security that comes with being with, like, they took this, it was a very, very interesting
right.
study. Shout out to Mark Lamont Hill.
I
saw it
look
on
forward
his
to them
page.
doing the study of being bombarded by fairy tales, Snow White, Cinderella, when they grow up, for the
Right.
reason why they want Rapunzel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because can you stop singing about let my hair down?
Yeah.
My hair grows up, black man.
Right?
It grows up and out.
Tell them, Twinkie.
So if
Look
you're
at it.
singing let your hair down, who are you speaking to? That's all I'm saying. Love you, Jodeci.
All right, so then we have. I just love you having you here.
Twinkie
Right,
keeps it
like,
real.
can you come every week?
Right.
Season 4.
But I do think it's a great conversation that they're having, and not that I wanted it to be, you know, the platform for a talk back again, but I think it's something that needed to be talked about. And then you even have the interns going at it again, and I love the interns.
Yes.
They are great because they
My
just
interns, aren't they awesome?
They're good.
spit fire under everyone and
Yes.
say the things that I want to say, but don't know how to put into words the right way.
They don't
Yes.
necessarily know how to either. They say it like they mean it. That's what
They
it's
do.
fresh,
Yes.
you know.
Right.
Well,
right.
Makeda, one of the interns, she won my monologue slam last year.
Oh.
So she's my winner. And
That's
then
the Clark
how
Atlanta
she
student,
got
right?
Yes.
She's
And-
amazing.
Yes, she's awesome. And then Chris Brew, who is our tall, good looking, he was also
The one who had
around.
to
He
get the
did the
coffee?
startup
Oh,
with
okay.
Diggy.
Oh, yeah, that's why I was like, where have I seen him at? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
beautiful, beautiful young man and very strong actor and a great person. So you kind of try to incorporate them and each one of them. And I've known them from before. I met Makeda because she auditioned for my monologue slam, and then she gets to come in because I met her and I learned who she was, and she was up against some fierce competition, and she literally won out because the girl is just so great.
She is.
She's
yeah.
really great, and it was great to have someone with a different look, natural hair, that whole thing. So
Yeah.
and how outspoken she is really, I mean, she's from New York, but she went to school in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So it was like perfect. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're just going back home.
Yeah.
Right.
So
right,
it was
right.
really, really great to be able to cast them all and to watch those tapes, and then casting locals as well. I have wonderful casting director Alpha Tyler in Atlanta who sends me all of these great tapes. So I then watch and get to cast some people that have moved there from LA, the actors. So it's really great. I love my work. I really do.
It shows because the fact that all of these elements come together with the people in the show, plus the writing, it just comes together so well. You can
Dr.
tell.
Haki Matabuti.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. People were so surprised to see him on television, and he doesn't do TV, and he doesn't do TV. And I begged him. I was like, please,
Right.
Dr. Matabuti, we need you on the show. He did such a good job. I mean, it's just for me sometimes to be able to make the phone calls that I make. Oh my gosh, to like Goldie Taylor and to Donna Brazil. I'm like,
Right.
I get to call these
And Goldie
people,
Taylor's
and
the
they
one-
call me back.
She's responsible for the Cosby versus Cliff, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I like her.
Yes.
Steven, is there any way we can get like the live feed? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I want to see
Talk
what
to our
I
producer.
have it on my
Put
phone.
the live feed up.
Oh, okay.
And then the other thing that I want to talk about is, of course, Talkback comes back, and it comes back with Mary Jane's topic of her viral video or viral picture with her man. Did you think that was an okay for this, the okay way for the show to come back, or did you think that there was probably something else she should have done?
I feel like it was relevant. I
Right.
feel like because it went viral and because people were calling her a hypocrite and because she was coming back to the show, that it needed to be addressed. I don't know if I would have made that the highlight of the episode for Talkback. I don't know if I would have made that the sole focus of it, but it definitely needed to be addressed.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would
agree.
spend like 2 minutes on it, honestly. It's not that much to unpack.
I mean, it's not that much, but just like this conversation at our panel could go on for hours about it. I think that there is a lot that can be said, and I do agree with Greg's philosophy. The producer side of my brain is thinking the numbers are already in. People are talking about it. People want to know. People want to hear Mary Jane's side of her story. So why not use that to boost ratings for the
Right.
first episode?
Right.
And that's the producer
That's a good
side
producer
of my brain.
side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's a good
producer
producer
is
way.
thinking right.
I dig that.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys think. Use the hashtag ABTVBMJ so we can see some of your any of your comments, and we'll read some of them. What are some of the YouTube comments we have, Tiona?
Oh, I was just going to give some
Shout-outs.
YouTube shout-outs to Patrice Beast, Christine Falk, Brittany Brewer, and J'adore Oui. Those were just a couple of the people who commented on YouTube last week. We got a lot of comments last week because we had Mara in studio. And everyone, the general consensus is that Mara's awesome. And Tiona has a girl crush on her. So it's all great.
Shar. Yes.
Shar, what about Twitter? Do we have any comments?
Well, yes, Black Caesar, who got me right together about the dead president's clip, the GIF that I missed. But anyway, he commented and said, Cece's comeuppance was definitely due. She went out like a G, though. Tips hat. I thought that was funny. And then shout out to Just T. Her Twitter handle is @_anonymous T. She said, hey, ladies, you guys made me reopen my Twitter account. I had to come and tell you guys that you all are amazing and you keep me laughing. #ABTVBMJ.
All right.
Yes.
Awesome
And of course,
sauce.
we want to shout out the people that are in the live chat right now. We've got Keith Harper, Liberdall 10, got some other people. Liberdall also said that she said, I'm late, but I don't see why MJ broke up with the white guy.
Me either. I was saying that, but Twinkie broke it down for me.
Yes,
you got to
yes.
rewind.
Twinkie got us all the way together. Thank you.
I'm just sharing what I've gleaned. That's all.
Right. Okay, so if we want to stay at work, let's talk about what happens elsewhere at SNC. We've got Kara and Marisol. She's back, you guys.
Ooh.
They have issues, obviously, but we find out why Kara has as many issues as she does with Marisol. And Marisol is not coming to play, y'all. She seemed real sweet on all these other episodes. And she decides to file a sexual and racial harassment suit against Kara. Do you think that was like extreme, or do you think like, no, girl, you're right, you should do that?
She should have. I would have. If I was a Marisol, I mean, as much as I love Kara, shout out Lisa. If I were, for example, at good old dear AFTERBUZZ, if we were playing the same game and I was the Marisol, I'm going right to Roxy. And if Tiana's giving me a hard time, this is fictitious, guys. You know, if Tiana's giving me a hard time,
let's go.
Racially, pulling me to the side and going in and sucking her teeth at me, I'm going straight to HR.
Here's the other thing, though. Marisol asked for the head anchor position to make sure everything went away. However, she still filed the suit.
Yes, she did.
Was that dirty of her, or was that like, okay, you good then?
It was so dirty. Shout out to Crystal on Twitter. She said Marisol dropped her version of Back to Back. You know, that was Drake's diss to me. That was the ultimate, like, because Kara still had to face. She thought, okay, I'm going to make her the anchor. That's what she asked for. I offered her the position, and now we have, HR in the office.
I'm gonna go in there with the shoe comment.
Whose grandmother
I was like,
was
is she
it?
really leading with the shoes?
Right,
Yeah,
that was so awkward.
She led with the shoes.
Hilarious.
I can't.
Because you could see her like hyping herself up. She was like, okay,
Yep.
I got this.
girl, that shit, like
Yes.
you saw her, like that was hilarious. Because I feel like we've all been there. Maybe not to that extent, but I feel like we've all been there with addressing people.
Yeah.
But here's the beautiful thing about the show that I love that Mara does, and she writes in. There are things that we have to address about ourselves, and a lot of times we point fingers, but we don't pay attention to the three fingers pointing back at us.
Right.
And just because there's someone in there of the same ethnicity, we feel intimidated. Mm-hmm. No,
Or comfortable in when we're addressing them.
Right. Or we get intimidated and we do that whole like, okay, there can only be one of us.
Right.
And you do that stare down standoff. Mm-hmm. And that whole thing. And Mara is great at addressing those things that we need to work on within ourselves in scripts and those subliminal messages that we're getting. Mm-hmm. We can work together. You have to learn how to push through whatever that issue is that you have with being the only Latina. Mm-hmm. And you don't even speak Spanish.
Exactly.
Right.
I was going to say that too. But for me, it just actually made me believe Kara's story about Marisol and Greg, because
Someone
it's like,
just
okay,
asked
we just see her going behind Kara's back to do this, and the sneaky way of her nature. I was like, this kind of, for me, makes it seem more obvious that maybe Kara was onto something, calling her out for her relationship with Greg.
Why did Kara admit to it?
Why would she think that? Like, sis, really?
Yeah.
For 2 seconds, I'm like, okay.
Why is that the first thing?
Why did you think that in the first place? Did you do that in your past?
Man.
Because they're usually sometimes the things that you think of are something that you have done.
Message.
And exactly. So why did you think that of your sister in the first place, sis?
But why did she admit to it? That's what threw me off. I mean, honesty is the best policy, but in this case,
You want to lie. I didn't say that.
like, Greg, what? I would have acted totally offended.
Clutch the pearl.
I would have been like, excuse me, I have never.
I would never. Greg, you know me.
Right. I've been at SMC for too damn long to deal with this with some newbie.
Okay.
I would have totally just went for the Oscar.
Dismissed.
Right.
And Greg was very quick to believe
He was.
her side of the story,
He
which
was.
also was kind of a red flag to me that maybe she was hitting home on some points because you have a senior producer who's been with your network for years and someone new accusing, instead of coming to Kara and saying, hey, this is what's being said, what's your side of the story? You came in guns blazing and already accepting that this was a truth.
Right.
Because he was very aggressive. Did you or did you not?
Yeah,
Like,
he
it was
did.
like,
It's not like he
Right.
wasn't even going to give her the benefit of the doubt that like Marisol was up to something and lying on.
because he was like
her.
one-on-one. I need to talk to you. One-on-one, like his whole approach. It was just aggression
Right.
from the jump.
I want to see what happens with this if there's another season of Being Mary Jane, which because this
Are we
is
praying? Are we praying? Is everyone praying?
Yes,
Sending love and light.
we have
Sending
to
love
get
and light.
another-
Okay.
yes.
There will be.
Awesome.
There has to be another
Awesome.
season of this
Stretch.
because there's so many unanswered questions. There's a couple of people who are saying they did not like how this season ended.
Yeah.
I will raise my hand to that. And this is why I will say that. Because there's so much stuff that's left unanswered.
That's right.
So many
I
things.
wanted some things to be answered.
Like what?
Hanging.
Yeah, like we're totally hanging on the situation with Niecy.
Yes, you are.
We don't know what's going on with the whole HR issue. What's going to happen
Yeah.
with that? What happened to Cuddy Buddy?
I was just about to ask
We don't
that.
know. She never really cut him off.
One minute he was
She
comforting
just-
her on the floor about
Right.
Lisa, and then the next it just was like, oh, a new day.
Right. I feel like there's just so many unanswered questions.
Did you guys want her and David to have an interaction?
I did.
Okay, because
David
I
is
really
bad.
needed some sort of interaction.
But then you think about it because the scene where you see her and he's with his family, he has a baby. What does he say to her? Hey, this is my baby.
No, I didn't need them to have an interaction because I felt like I got all that I needed from Lisa's funeral. And I felt like that was closure. That's something that Mary Jane doesn't often do. That was a solidified closure. And Atlanta is a small town. And we are bound to run into each other. We just so happen to run into each other. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to continue minding my business, getting my hot sausage sandwich. And you mind your business going on with your baby and your family. Because there's really nothing to talk about. If he would have said something to her, it would have opened up a whole other can of worms that didn't need to be addressed.
When she said to the mom, she followed through with that. And it also shows us in our real lives to follow through with what you say you want.
Yep.
If this is what you say that you want, you cannot keep going back. You have to focus and turn your head towards the sun. Keep your head to the sky and focus, because better is going to come for you. The right thing, the better thing, it will come, but you have got to be steadfast in that.
You
said a
preaching.
word. I was about to say, you said a word.
Girl, we gotta have a
I'm over here
benediction.
Taking notes over here on Twinkie.
Man, we can have a benediction on that one,
Because
Twinkie.
better has come for me, and I have a new boo.
Oh, yes, new boo. Shout out to the new boo. Hey, new boo.
That deserves a round of applause.
Yes. All right, let's talk about what's going on with the family at home. We see that PJ is still in town. He's the last episode he agreed
Is
to
he ever
help
leaving?
Yes.
Niecy get her stuff together,
Yes.
which is awesome. Pop says a couple of things. He says that he's happy that PJ is showing up for Niecy because she needs a man to show up for her.
does.
But PJ responds that Patrick is doing that, but his dad is just not saying that. Are either one of them right in what they say?
I think they're both right in what they're saying. I think that Patrick is doing the best he can to be there for his children and for his daughter. And I also think that in the past he wasn't there a lot, and it's hard for his father to get past the past because, I mean, let's face it, my parents are stuck in their ways.
Right.
And, you know, once you kind of wrong them, it takes a lot to build that trust back, and Dad's just not going to get duped again.
Right.
So I think that they're both right.
But there is a kind of come to Jesus that he needs to have with Niecy.
Yes.
There is a time for, even though she's older and she's not as young as the baby, she still is a little girl on the inside. That hurt little girl on the inside needs to be nurtured and consoled by her father and told that he loves her just the same. And even though she's not mixed, because she has that complexion issue and that mixture issue, that doesn't really come from him. That's something that she needs to work on with herself. And she comes from a beautiful mother, Jill Scott. Yes. Yes. And thank you, Keith, for Twinkie Byrd's preaching. Appreciate you. I'm just sharing, love bug. I don't preach, I just share. But that is really what Patrick, which I'm looking forward to Patrick doing if season 4 is coming together and sitting down with this one daughter who made that phone call. She was the one who said that, my father needs help. I'm the only one here to make that. He needs to sit down with her and look her in the eye and say, I love you and I appreciate you and I thank you, so that she can start the healing process for herself.
I just have to ask, what is the holdup? This is one of BET's top rated shows in primetime. What is the holdup with the season renewal?
I wish I knew.
You're going to have to
go work for BET.
Right. We're going to have to talk to them. BET, use the hashtag, guys.
Really?
Mary Jane, tweet, let them know.
But you guys are going to bring those girls back for another season, I bet.
She did that.
Where we going? And let's bring it back.
No, because I just got to feel in a type of way.
I see you in your feelings.
Yes.
Woo, woo, woo.
Right. Well, hopefully the show will come back. I mean, there's a lot, I think, that still has to be explored with Mary Jane, with her family, her love life, work. There's so many things.
And friendships. Yes. When are we going to situate? What is happening? Like, what the Lisa and the whole thing? Like, when you got to have, when? We gotta really get in that. When you going to sit down with somebody and be like, here's my issue.
But you know what, she kind of did this episode because she did say to Kara that she felt the guilt. She was like, I still feel guilty over what happened. I think this is as much as we've gotten from her.
Since. Like, this is the first time she's brought up Lisa since, it happened. And I get that you want to keep your mind busy so that you're not dwelling on it, so you're not sad all the time. But she does need to kind of talk to someone. Because I think that part of her going to the underground clubs and sex clubs and stuff is part of her acting out because she feels some sort of way and she's acting out, and until she heals on that, she's not going to get any
fingers
further.
Pointing at you.
I just had a thought for next season, because there will be a next season.
Yes,
I'm speaking it.
Speak it.
You should recruit Iyanla Van Zant and have Mary Jane do an episode of Iyanla Fix My Life. That would be fantastic.
That would. We do need, because she
That
does
would
need
be
her life.
Iyanla's one-liners.
Right.
Oh my gosh, she would get Mary Jane together.
Oh my goodness. Let's talk about, that's a good idea, girl. You better ask for your writer's credit while you over here.
Or have her go on Dr. Phil. I mean, this is all the TV world, you know?
Right. Let's talk about Cece, of course. You and your ideas. I love it.
You can't.
I love
now, you
Shar.
know
I like it. I like the
Iyanla
idea.
would be like, Mary Jane, beloved.
Okay.
Like, she would get her together.
Beloved. Fix yourself, beloved.
Right.
Put your hand. Fix yourself. Help us. Take the wheel,
Iyanla.
Jesus. Take the wheel.
Yes, Iyanla, fix Mary Jane's life, please. We see Cece is in the picture this episode, and Mary Jane goes to her bookstore and does her a solid and speaks to the community. After we see last episode, Cece is still trying to extort
Which is so
Mary
annoying.
Jane. I was like, why is Mary Jane there? Why
The
did
fact
she go?
that Mary Jane, I mean, at first I didn't get it until the end, of course, but when she was talking about co-writing this memoir with her, I was like, really? But then, it came full circle at the end. But
I was like,
I definitely was side-eyeing the hell out of her.
Yeah.
Like, you are tripping. Like, for real, you are tripping.
Oh, I was just like, okay, Mary Jane's trying to appease her in another form of payment instead of
It's never
being
gonna be enough.
extorted again.
Right. It's never
So
gonna be enough.
I mean, I definitely did not see Mary Jane doing what she did at
But
the end.
she talked about the flyers, and the flyers were already out there, although you didn't get to see that. I read it, in the script.
And
I had the script before.
Okay.
And so, she had put out flyers with Mary Jane's likeness on them, so Mary Jane couldn't not show up.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Because then it would have
And-
fallen in her lap.
Right. And much like she said to her interns, sometimes you have to do what the people that are, you have to do what people are telling you to do, but then show up with your own agenda and get that out there.
Yep.
So you see how all those things things keep correlating. Mara
Yep.
is brilliant with that layering.
Yep.
She,
Yes.
She said, "What are you trying to say?" That was a good point. I felt like she schooled. I appreciate the Clark Atlanta intern's perspective, but Mary Jane had to school her on how sometimes this works, especially in the world of broadcast, whether it's
Right.
television or radio or even print.
Right.
Sometimes
Or
you have
corporate.
to,
Yes. Or
yes,
corporate, yeah.
you have to play a certain game, but if you're good, you're
Yes.
still able to weasel
Yes.
in what you need to up in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to learn
That
how
was
to
so
maneuver.
important. Just
Yeah.
like when a few episodes back, she told Niecy, "You got to get the pool first." Auntie, how do I get one of those? When she's talking about Cuddy Buddy, you got to get the pool
Right,
first.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, and then when Cece and Mary Jane go to the publishers, I was like, because I was like, something ain't right here. I was like, they really gonna do this? Something's not right, because it seems like Cece trying to take over the meeting, make
Well,
this book about her.
I mean, it was lovely that the last words Cece said before walking into that meeting was, I get nervous. Like she wasn't going to have anything to say.
Right.
And then she did not let Mary Jane
Right, say
speak,
anything.
which, Mary Jane was probably plotting on because Cece then put her own foot in her
Incriminated
mouth.
herself.
And Mary
Yeah.
Jane was brilliant for that because Cece was talking too damn much. So you incriminated yourself. She was brilliant for setting her up in that
was.
way.
Yeah, which
Right.
Mary
Because-
Jane said at the bookstore.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone here has had a conversation
Yes.
with Cece, and we all know that woman talks too much.
yes.
And she used
I wasn't
it against
expecting
You know what,
some
I
of the
was-
stuff that she said. She's
Neither
like,
was
an
I.
SMC tried to silence me.
And I loved how she was like, "Oh, we got to get our blessing." Always trying to get that blessing, Cece. You better get that blessing. Now you-
justifying foolishness.
Right.
yourself
Rather
in a
than
cell.
blessing.
And then as soon as the guy goes, "You have a right to remain silent," I was like, "Oh, got him." That's exactly what I thought.
But didn't she almost have you though? Let's just think about this
No,
for
I
2
was
seconds.
totally fooled.
Didn't Cece almost have you though? Like last episode when she started talking about the Being Mary Jane, the talk back show and trying to help the interns, and then the brilliant overlaying of, so while she's doing all that talking, you're almost in with Cece and you're like, okay, she has a point, and then they overlay her voiceover of the original extortion,
Yeah.
and then you're like, wait a minute,
Right.
she almost got me.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Exactly.
folks.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
Exactly.
And so Cece's on her way to jail, but you see all of the anger come out. All the B words are flying. I thought we were friends.
Yes.
Does Cece have a point though when she tells Mary Jane that you don't have any friends now? Look what happened to your last friend.
Ouch.
Does she have a point?
That hurt.
That hurt.
I don't think so.
No. It's time for Mary
was
Jane
trying
to
to
go
hurt
back inward and go home, because the family is everything, and she's got a friend in Kara, and it's time to go back and now reinforce and re-fall in love with the friendships, re-nurture the friendships that you do really have, and that's, to me, that's what it says. Go inward.
Right.
And she said she's tired of people beating her up, so to speak. That's not what Mary Jane said, but using her up, pushing her to the limit, whatever, she said, but I felt her on that. But Cece, like Black Caesar said, that hat tip with that little wet wig.
Oh, with the wet wig.
Put my hat back on.
That was funny.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna miss Cece because seeing Loretta Devine act
She'll
her
be back.
face off
Didn't she do
was
a great
just
job?
amazing. Every time
did a
she
great
hit the
job.
screen, I was like,
did a
"Oh my
great
God,
job.
Cece!" Loretta makes you fall in love with Cece, even though she's a bad person.
And you
You're
want to
right.
hate Cece, but it's
you
it's
can't.
Auntie Loretta.
Right.
Yes.
And then, of course, the scene closes out with Niecy and having an issue with the cops. They pull her out. They tase her. Baby Travion sees everything. And Mary Jane is like, when she sees this footage, I feel like she's about to snap. Like, we going on tarmac
Yes.
right now.
Right.
I felt like someone poured ice water down my, because it was like, for starters, the lead into that scene was this montage of the season wrap up with no more drama playing in the back.
Exactly.
I got a little misty eyed. I really did. Because I'm like, oh my God, this isn't my life, but I've been there with you, girl, for the whole thing, And then to cap it off with that, it's just like, just to put my feet, the way that you all do the show, the way that the show is done, it forces you to put your feet in Mary Jane's shoes and just to imagine minding my business.
Right.
And someone unplugs the iPad and it's like, no, Shar,
is
come
my
take a look
niece.
at this. And it's, my niece or family member or
family
something
member.
being a product of the police brutality that I've been reporting on for months and months and months. And now it's hitting home.
Ooh, child. Oh. Ooh.
I could see the heartbeat in her ears, like she
Right.
can hear her own heartbeat.
Yes.
Just the
And the
blood
way they
rushing.
faded out the sound,
Yes.
the audio. That
Yes.
was brilliant. It was brilliant.
I mean,
No,
everyone
yes.
heard me scream no because
Right.
I just couldn't believe that's
Right.
how we were ending, and
Yes.
this is why I have to have another season because
Absolutely.
I need to know
I'm gonna be
what
pissed.
happens next. Like a series can't end this way, BET.
Yes. Well,
It just can't.
Since this is the last episode, what I'm going to let everyone do instead of predictions, give your favorite scene this season.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Are you kidding me,
You
Meg?
gotta- I mean, of course we have a million. Just pick
I
one.
got it. Kara and her husband going at it in the kitchen.
Oh, that was
my
good.
favorite scene this season.
good.
That was so
Yeah.
well
No.
acted
Yeah.
and portrayed, and just I cried, and even thinking about it, my heart hurts because it was just so real, and that's a real relationship.
I don't have a favorite scene, but my favorite episode, which I thought was so important, was Lisa's suicide.
Yeah,
it was
that's what I
done
was
so
gonna
well. The soundtrack was A1.
Yes.
Everything from Mary Jane ripping everybody's edges off during the eulogy and
Yes.
talking about how the stepfather had been
Yes.
molesting her. And we didn't know all of this stuff about Lisa. That whole, like, I get goosebumps thinking about that. And even the way that the silence of the shower and the way that Lisa killed herself. Like,
Yeah.
that was my favorite of the entire season. It was different.
Wow.
Twinkie?
Those are all great. My favorite were the Richards.
Which one's the
Dad Richard and son Richard going going
yes.
back and forth. I'm sorry, Richard
With the
Roundtree and
Roundtree.
Richard Brooks. So when they had the intervention with Mary
Yes.
Jane and they were
Yeah.
toe to toe, and you can feel that energy between a father and a son and all
15
that.
years.
I mean, and it is Mary Jane's show, and we hear a lot from the women, but when we started hearing from the men,
Yes.
it touched me to a place where I was just like, wow, it's like watching my dad and my brother. That's really the way I felt. And I was in, and I even tweeted them. I was like, look at my Richards.
Right. They are both named Richard.
Yes, they are.
Yes. And you know, I think all of these are my favorites, so I'm going to go a little different. I liked every single time we saw something real that was in the news that was inserted.
Oh my
so
gosh.
whether we had Donna Brazile that was on there, we had Goldie talking about the Cosby situation, or the situation that was going on. Every single time that happened, it made me go, ooh, yes, because I was just reading about that. Talking about Boko Haram, like everything. Every single time we had that, it made me happy.
And can you believe that every single time that you all watched it was a year after we shot it?
Right.
For the most part, except for this season. This season, you're watching it within the same year. But every season prior to,
And it was
it's
still
been
relevant.
a complete year later.
Still
and
relevant.
that is how awesome and prolific Mara Brock Akil is.
I love it. Everyone give it up for season 3 of Being Mary Jane. Before we get out of here, where can we find you, Twinkie?
You can find me everywhere, but online it's twinkiebird.com. Ask Twinkiebird at Gmail. I have on Twitter Twinkie_Bird. On IG I am Twinkiebird. So I am everywhere.
Okay.
And I'm starting to do my producing thing.
Okay.
And yes, and I've been writing a fabulous blog called The Dating Chronicles Over 40.
Yes.
And
So are we going to see that? Is that going to be a movie?
You know, it's looking really good that it's going to be. It's being developed right now because I have so
If
many
you're looking
followers.
for fresh faces,
So always,
Need a panel of ladies.
always.
Diamond Finder.
I might use AFTERBUZZ instead of my real ladies. I'm gonna use my AFTERBUZZ ladies.
Yes,
How about
honey.
that?
Yes, we are
We're
available.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining.
yes,
Thank you for having me.
Thank
You guys
you.
are awesome.
Thank you.
Where can we find
really
you,
are.
lovely sisters?
You can find me at the Tiona Hobson, Twitter, Instagram, Tiona_Hobson on Snapchat. I mean, I snap all the time, and I think I'm funny.
You can
snap
find me
and you
at
chat.
SharSaysSo.com, and that's Shar Says So on all social media. All of it. Like,
Right.
that's me. That's all me.
Everything.
Yes, you can find me, Megan Thomas, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Periscope at Meg Scoop, like scoop of ice cream. Thank you guys so much for joining us this season of Being Mary Jane. We love your support. So go out there and tweet because we need you guys to get us a season 4 of Being Mary Jane. We love you guys. See you next season. Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Next season.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.